You know that feeling when you think to yourself, how did I not see this coming? When you make a decision or when you invest in something or someone, only for it to all fall apart. Then as time passes and as you gain new information and become a little bit wiser, all of the red flags that you missed in the past are obvious to you now. The only problem is, it's too late, because the damage of whatever choice you made is already done. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could avoid more regrets and decisions that will harm you? What if you could think like your future self right now? Give me 3 minutes and I'll show you how to make this shift and realize your potential. A common flaw we share as humans is that we do not tend to think ahead. They say to live in the moment, but this isn't always a good thing, not when it makes you reactive. We get so caught up in the rush of a moment and in our own emotions that our view of situations and problems becomes very limited. So we choose what feels good right now without thinking about the long-term consequences. How many of us have ignored red flags in a person just because we were too caught up in how good they made us feel? Or trusted the wrong people just because they seemed too nice? How often do we overeat, skip our workouts, scroll mindlessly on our phones instead of actually pursuing our goals? Maybe you regret not taking action on something you wanted because you were too afraid and you chose comfort over risk, and now you're kicking yourself watching other people live the life that you want. You see, the pattern is always the same. Choosing what pleases your senses and satisfies your emotions in the moment, instead of stepping back and thinking ahead. And if you reflect on your past right now, I can almost guarantee that most of your regrets come from this exact pattern. But you can rise above this. You can avoid being reactive. You can start making decisions that actually serve you in the long run and lead to less regret. The key is perspective. You have to look beyond what is immediately around you and how it makes you feel. Picture the tip of an iceberg. What you see on the surface is only a small part of the bigger picture. What looks perfect to you right now is actually hiding risks, flaws, and hidden consequences below the surface. And so if you want to make better decisions in your life, then you're going to have to dive deeper to see the full picture. And to dive deeper, you're going to need to get some distance. And so this is probably the most important thing you can do. Step back, detach, and think ahead. You don't need to be a genius to do this. You don't need to know every possible outcome. You only need to pause and think before you act. Now, with the distance you gain from pulling back comes clarity. You can look deeper at the context of the situation, beyond the immediate thrill and promise of it. You can look at what the people who are involved really want. You can now use your reasoning to think of the possible consequences your choices could have here. You can see if these choices align with your values and your goals. If you can just start with this, just detaching from the rush of a moment or a decision, then you'll find that there are now other options and choices you can make that seem more logical than you initially thought. You are now in a better position to make decisions that actually serve you in the long run. So just remember, although you can't literally see the future, you can think like your future self right now. And that is what will save you from the regret of tomorrow.